Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Karen Marie and this is my channel Made by Karen Marie. So it is a Friday and I'm working from home today, and I decided to use my lunch break to film my October makes. It is the Friday the 31st of October today, so first of all, happy Halloween if you are celebrating. And yeah, I think this must be a record of some sort that I'm filming my makes video on the last day of the month. But I knew that I wasn't able to sew up anything today, so I might as well film my October makes while there is still a little daylight. I was able to make 6 things in October, if I have counted correctly. It didn't look like that in the middle of October because by that time, I think I'd only made like 2 things. One of them was a meaty project, so I blamed it on that. But then at the end of this month, I've had a little sort of flurry of new makes. So in the end, we ended up at 6 makes. Of course, I will leave all the information about the patterns, the names and everything in the description box. So if you feel like it, you can have a look at that there. Okay, I was talking about Halloween earlier. So let's start with the only thing that I've made specifically for today. So last year, my daughter was a part of a Peter Pan ballet performance, and she was given this little thing for her hair, and she was able to keep it afterwards. She was thrilled. And this year she decided that instead of well, she's a witch today at school, but instead of the kind of traditional spooky stuff for the Halloween party tonight, she wanted to be a fairy. So she wanted a matching skirt, and that's exactly what I made for her. Yeah, first of all, I should explain maybe that I didn't celebrate Halloween when I was young. It wasn't a thing then, nobody did. But nowadays it's a big deal for the kids. So after school today and after work, we are headed down to a classmate of my youngest daughter, and yeah, all the parents and the kids are coming, and there will be some trick-or-treating and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, so so this is what my daughter will be wearing. It is just a skirt. It's made out of a rectangle. I got this tulle at Selfmade when I was there earlier this autumn. And yeah, it's sort of a rainbow tulle with these little beads on them. And boy, did I regret that because I had quite a time of picking out all of the little beads that, I couldn't sew over them, obviously. So any time that they came sort of close to the foot, I had to rip them out. I don't think this will be something that will be washed very often, so I think I could just get away with ripping them out. Basically, there were no other ways of getting them out. So yeah, that was, I had a job of that. There are 2 layers of tulle. And then I just used some lining that I had lying around and this viscose underneath it. So yeah, I just, basically I didn't even hem it properly because I that wouldn't do. So I just overlocked the edges, and I thought that gave it sort of an extra fairy look. That's what I'm telling myself. And I just put some elastic in the top there. So yeah, that was that was a make for my youngest daughter, and I think she's going to look really, really nice with her little headband and her fairy skirt. I love the True Bias Nico top. I have made countless of that top. I have made the long sleeved one. I have made sort of a 3/4 length thing. I have made several that are sleeveless, mostly for my daughter because I don't wear sleeveless things. And yeah, many versions. However, this time I made one in a merino wool, and I made a quarter zip hack. But the thing is, merino wool, although lovely, and this isn't particularly itchy, I am really sensitive on the neck. So I don't like things like wool close on my neck. So what I did was, and this was probably not the best idea, but yeah. So I cut the neckband in the same width as usual, but I wanted it to be really high neck so that when I put the zip all the way up, it would like come close to my chin, really, because so snugly and nice when it's cold out. So I just kind of cut two of that instead of one, and then I used this kind of rib on the inside. Unfortunately, though, it does show through a little bit, but this isn't going to be a sweater that I wear like to work or anything. This is just mainly for lounging around in my home. But that's my Nico top in a merino. So let's get started on the blouses. I've made two, and if you follow my channel on a regular basis, you will know that you will have seen this fabric before, because this is a viscose from Selfmade, and it is the Alexa blouse by Atelier Jupe. It is impossible to see what this looks like before I'm wearing it. So I'll put in some pictures, but even then, actually, it's quite difficult to see the unique features of this blouse because of the busy pattern. I kind of regret making it up in such a busy pattern because most of the like really delicate features of it is lost in it. Just to put that out there, I'm also regretting the fabric choice of another reason, and that is because this was quite inexpensive viscose from Selfmade. And no matter how many times I tell myself don't go for the cheap viscose, I am sometimes tempted, either by my love for the color or the pattern, or just because I want to test out something and not feel too precious about the fabric. So I once again bought the, rather inexpensive viscose from Selfmade, and then had a terrible time sewing it up. I'm exaggerating, but it was no fun cutting this out because it is very, very lightweight, totally shifty, and even with like pins and pattern weights, and I used a very sharp rotary cutter, but it still wanted to sort of escape from the pattern piece. So yeah, I had a time of it to cut this out. And yeah, I mean, it gathers beautifully, so there's that, and there is a lot of gathering in this blouse. But yeah, it was no fun working with because it also kept sliding under the foot, even though I was using my IDT, which is sort of the walking foot in the faff world. So yeah, it was no fun sewing it up, but it did come out quite lovely, and I have worn it a couple of times to work. It is very, very oversized, so there's lots of swish. You can sort of feel it swishing around the body when you walk. And yeah, I do really love the color. I mean, I do think this is a very like good color for me. It is in my color chart, and yeah, I really do like the results, but I do wish that I, one, had bought better viscose, and two, had gone for a solid color that could really show off the features of the blouse, because let me try to show you anyway. So this is the shoulder up here. I can hold it up. Okay. So you can see there's a double yoke in there. This is the shoulder, but there's no shoulder seam because the yoke sort of comes up behind from the back and then crosses over the shoulder, and then there's a big like gathering up here. And that is something that does not show up on this blouse. But you can, maybe you can see it, it's right there. There you go, there you can see it. So yeah, that creates a really lovely shape in the front, and then you don't have to have bust darts because that creates the shape in the front. On the back, there are 4 or 5 big pleats in the back. That obviously creates this sort of trapeze kind of shape to the blouse. So that's why it's so very roomy. That is also almost impossible to see on this fabric. Maybe there, can you see it there? So there's one, and then there's one here and one here. And yeah, they create a lot of room. There are 2 options for the sleeves. They're both extremely voluminous and gathered, but you can make the one that I made that simply has the cuff sewn on. There's no opening to the cuff, which means that it's easier to sew, but you can't really chuck your sleeves up. So yeah. And then there's the other one that has like buttons on the cuff. When I make this again, and I will make it again because I think it's a lovely blouse, then I will definitely size down even 1 more size, maybe even 2, I have to say. Oh, one more thing, by the way. I bought the fabric myself, but Andrea from Beyond the Pink Door kindly gifted me the pattern itself as part of the ambassadors program that I'm part of, just to put that out there. So let's do blouse number 2, shall we? So I bought the Itch to Stitch Clemente top. I think that was the consensus, like Clemente was the right way to say it. I wasn't sure it was Clemente or Clement or Clement, but Clemente sounds right. So let's go with that. So when I saw the Clemente top, I thought that was such a good like wardrobe builder, simple, classic, elegant, never goes out of style kind of blouse. So I decided to get that one. And it is a really simple top. So it has a yoke that sort of comes up on the high bust, and then it is you can see there gathered into a sort of lower front, and then it's the same on the back, but on the back the yoke is split into 2 halves, so to create the opening for well, your head. You are supposed to, and this is the only thing that I struggled with, you are supposed to bias bind the neckline, and I did. I created my own bias binding and bound the neckline. However, you're supposed to leave like a little tail here, and then you're going to tuck that under and sew it in to the neckline itself to create the button loop. Yeah, I don't see that working unless you have a button with a shank, because and even then it's going to be a struggle, because I found that even though this bias binding that I made according to the pattern was a bit too slinky for my liking, maybe because it's a viscose, but it was like quite narrow, so I had to be very, very precise when sewing it. But still, when you're sort of tucking it in under itself, it is going to create a bit of bulk there. So what I did, I could make it work basically. So what I did was that I cut that off and then sewed a little elastic in there instead. That's, I mean, I would have used one of those like round elastics, but the only one I had was white. So yeah, I mean, that creates a little bit of a problem because it's not very easy to fiddle with this behind your back and trying to get that button through the elastic. So that's my only regret. But when I make this again, I will probably either just lengthen the bias binding altogether and then tie it in the back like the Sagebrush top by Friday Pattern Company, or I will create a slightly like wider bias binding so that I can make like a buttonhole on the tail instead. I think that's going to work so much better. But yeah, it is a very, very quick make, I have to say. I didn't have enough fabric to make a full length sleeve, so I settled for a 3/4 length sleeve. And this is an Ecovero viscose that I got from Andrea at Beyond the Pink Door. As part of the ambassadorship, I did get a slight discount on the fabric, but I did buy it. So yeah, and it has an elasticated little cuff there, I suppose you would call it. It turned out really, really big and long. And I thought that was a bit weird because I am actually a little bit taller than they draft for. And still it was, yeah, it was like mid-hip at least. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. But what I did for now is that I unpicked the hem and then just took a bigger seam allowance at the bottom there. And I just like kind of narrowed it down when I came further up towards the sleeve. So it's more of a triangle now. And it fits a lot better now. And I absolutely adore this fabric. I think it is so nice. So I can't wait to wear it. And I put in a little label there. This is the Little Rosy Cheeks Me Made labels. And it was red and matched the red flowers. So yeah, that was the Clemente top. Okay, so for the latest make, and this is one that I only finished the other night and I haven't worn it yet. I haven't even tried it on yet, but it is the Jackson pullover by Helen's Closet. And I made it in this cotton jersey that I got from Selfmade. I'll stand up so you can see it. And I even bound the back neckline for the first time ever. So yeah, I got this at Selfmade. This is cotton jersey, so it's a very lightweight Jackson pullover. But I can't knit. And I thought this was the closest to sort of a Scandi knit sweater that I could get. And I really do adore this pattern. I think it is really like wintry and lovely. And it's going to be a good sweater for me to wear at work because, yeah, the temperature kind of varies a little bit, but it's usually quite warm in there. So I can wear this and feel very wintry while not being too hot in my office. I made the size 16 in this. And yeah, it's a pattern that I really, really love. And now for the final project of October, and this one's one you've seen before because it is the Maison Fauve Pilar jacket, and I think I showed it in my Friday sews last week, didn't I? And yeah, this is a rose pink denim that I got at Higgs and Higgs when I was at the Stitch Festival in March. And it was always designed to be a Pilar jacket. I bought it with that as a goal, and I had it in my spring plans, and then I kind of took the pattern out and looked at all the pattern pieces and then kept putting it off because I couldn't be bothered. But that was really silly because I do really like the final make. And I used this little remnant of the Indian block print that I got from Rainbow Fabrics. And I put in another Little Rosy Cheeks label in there because it was pink and quite wild. So yeah, I mean, what to say about the Pilar jacket? It is a very, very good, solid, well-drafted pattern as you expect with Maison Fauve. I think the instructions they're okay, and I probably would have made it no problem, but I mean, I am very, very glad that I bought Andrea's sew along for that jacket, because I mean, Andrea makes everything very simple and she makes excellent sew alongs. So yeah, I used the sew along a lot for this jacket, as well as for my first Pilar. So the Pilar jacket is like, of course, like a traditional denim jacket, very straight in the shape. And but the thing that really stands out on this are these like really lovely pin tucks on the front. It makes it so feminine and it falls great on the shoulder. Yeah, I absolutely love it. There are like the pockets are functional, as you can see. And yeah, there's one here too. But this is really, really like, as in a traditional denim pocket, jacket pocket, it is very, very small. So I can't fit my hand fully in there. And I don't have room for my phone in there, which is, you know, I wish I did, but I don't. The pockets on top are also too small to fit my phone. So, I mean, even though they are functional pockets, I don't really ever use them. The original pattern comes only with the facing in the back, but Andrea has you know, double yoke it and then just top stitch the inner yoke in. So yeah, I really, really do love this pattern. It does have some top stitching, but I only used like the same color top stitching, so you can't really see it. So I had expected to wear this more with dresses as well as with my jeans. However, I have found that that doesn't really work as well as I'd hoped, because even though it is fine with jeans, it sort of hits me a little weird for wearing with dresses, because my dresses are mostly kind of knit in at the waist, because that's my smallest point. So dresses usually look better when they are, you know, nipped in at the waist. However, because the Pilar jacket sort of neither hits me at the natural waist, nor high hip, nor kind of high thigh, it sort of sits a little bit weird, if you know what I mean. It's kind of in between all of those. It does hit me on the hip, but not on the full hip. And yeah, it doesn't really work that well with dresses, but it does work with jeans. And I'm thrilled that I was finally able to sew this up. So yeah, I now have 2 Pilar jackets, and I don't think that I'll be making more in the near future, but I absolutely love the results, and I'm glad that I, you know, forced myself to begin. So that was it for my October makes. I am now very curious to hear what you think of my makes. Have you made any of these patterns? What was your favorite October makes? Do tell me, because I'm very curious to hear what other people are sewing up. So I am now going back to work for a little while and then off to a Halloween party. And yeah, I wish you the very best of Halloween celebration if you celebrate, and that you have a great weekend ahead of you. Okay, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.